from Real Madrid Televisión. How are you doing tomorrow to the quarterfinals? Tomorrow, what do you think you're going to be doing? Good afternoon, everyone. If you would allow me, before I reply to you, on my behalf and on behalf of Real Madrid, we would like to convey our sincerest condolences to Diogo de Andres Silva's family. Our sincerest condolences. A big hug from here. It was a very sad piece of news. We started the day off with a feeling that makes you think about a lot of things. We thought about it, and on my behalf and on behalf of the club, we send them a very big hug, a lot of strength. We are sending him to his daughter, his family, and his children. Now, diving into this press conference, we are doing well, I think. Now, when we started with the knockout against Juventus was a huge step, and now we're quarterfinals with Dortmund. It is a top-tier team from Europe. In Champions, they are used to competing very well. They played actually the final with Real Madrid, and now here we are now moving to this stage, and we need to complete this stage at a very high level. There will be ups and downs, but we have a lot of drive. Hey, Coach. I want to ask you about Kylian Mbappe, and if he's starting, it would be in the starting 11. Well, he's getting better. He's been improving. He has been improving over the last 3 days. We talked about this in the morning, and tomorrow morning we will be deciding if he will be part of the initial 7. Hey, Coach, there's been a lot of soccer discussions in terms of who's going to be getting the number 9. If Gonzalo is not going there, if Mbappe will be taking over or being, well, it's the same response. Tomorrow morning, we will have the latest piece of news, and then we will be making our decisions. There are some things that I have decided on, but there are other open-ended decisions still that we still haven't decided upon. Tomorrow, we will set the initial 11, and I also want my players to know before the press conference. So if you insist on these questions, but I'm also going to be giving you the same reply, and that's how this is what I will be doing. Hey, Xabi, good evening. From the Dia de la Cadena Cope with Gonzalo. Theoretically speaking, you have 3 forwards. There are other players, but you have Kylian, you have Endrick, and now you have Gonzalo. A question for you, please. Are you going to have all 3 on the team, or if Endrick or Gonzalo could be going to another club? Well, I am counting on all 3 of these players. With Endrick, of course, he is recovering, but of course we still are counting on them. Now, in terms of the decisions of the team, we are really not at that time doing that right now. We are talking about high-level performance right here, right now, in a high-level, high-performance competition. We are the ones going to be making those decisions subsequently later on, but really it's not something that we can flesh out here.
Hola, ¿qué tal? David Álvarez del País. El otro día dijo que
Good evening from Paris. You said that you knew Dortmund quite well, Nikokovac, and he said that Madrid played really well as the Leverkusen. And when you grapple with situations such as this, when one head coach knows the other just as well, does this make it easier or more difficult to prepare the match? Are you thinking about it even more because the head coach is thinking about it more as well? To be perfectly honest with you, that this is a mistake, that we overthink things. I think that the Dortmund of tomorrow, or the Dortmund that we met in May in Leverkusen, that also fought against Real Madrid. You know, the players, it's similar, and some of, well, there are huge differences. I'm the only one here, and the staff is most of it's changed. Some of the ideas are the ideas you need to crystallize them with the players as things go. Dortmund is a very good team. Nico, as soon as he was at the helm, they are growing and developing and are on the rise. I have really analyze them, assess them, but it's the footballers that need to play out on the field. Now, I don't think that too many things have changed in terms of the Dortmund team.
Hola, ¿qué tal, Xavi? Buenas noches, Javier.
Hi, Xavi. Good evening from Academa SER. What I would like to ask you, Mbappe and Gonzalo, are they going to be playing time together? We say this in the press, or Mbappe or Gonzalo will be playing. Would it be possible to play together, or with Vinicius? Of course, they could be playing together. That always can happen. It depends on the needs we might have. I think that they could complement each other. And if it is required, it's not something that I am going to turn a blind eye to. I am from El Mundo. After reviewing the match the other day and the one from Salzburg, what do you think of the three center backs and the changes playing to two center backs opposed to three center backs? And do you think that the footballers will be able to understand everything to be as competitive as you need them to be during the tournament? Well, we have some tight, it's very tight now. We have very short time frames. It's very difficult to correct anything. It's even more difficult. I think with Aurel, I think he can play both roles. He can almost play a hybrid position, and he may be playing in one stage in one position and another stage another position. So we're not really going to be closing ourselves up and saying this is only one way that we are going to be playing. We're going to be getting even greater alternatives to find better solutions. Even at Juventus during the last match, we hope that they were going to be giving us more pressure from ahead instead of back, but in Dortmund we'll see what their strategy will be, and we need to seek out that solution in the match. Our players have played against us, they know us quite well, and they are the ones that need to make the decision with the prep work that we have in the match that we had. Hey, Xavi, from El Diario Marca, we are seeing an even stronger position with Valverde, with a double the other day, and he's playing incredibly well. Now, Carlo Ancelotti played, he was saying that that player was going to be reaching the 10 goals. Would you dare here to bet on this, that this Uruguayan player could hit those 10? Well, that head coach had already had such a huge career, so I'm not going to really put my name on it at all. I'm not going to be running any risk whatsoever, but it is possible that he can get to that area, that he could be a threat inside or in the second line. As football, as I said, it's a very comprehensive game you need to play, and he can be very flexible. I think that he's going to be scoring many goals over the season, and I'm not going to be doing any bets. I think that everything, all of us here, over the last two matches, the second half, and when you talk to them during the halftime, the team ends up playing quite well during the second half. We experienced so many things, and especially with an opponent such as Juventus. You talked about rock and roll the very first day, and I think that this is something that is in your head, rock and roll, that you had, and maybe I think that you have a player that can actually change everything. Rock and roll is action, and things can come out better or worse from time to time. It goes without saying that we do need that drive, that intensity, because these are matches that we can actually be sent home or continue forward. So we need to feel the adrenaline during the match, and that we are there and present, fully present. This can also help us, and also you always try in very little time during the cooling breaks that we have. You try to do everything possible, give them greater guidance, and now we are going, every stage is well, and we need to continue working so that there is even greater continuity, even be more constant, even more consistent We cannot lose sight of it. We have to be in it. Martin from Okidiario, I would like to ask you, every single time you were talking about the French player, and I would like to know what you like about the French player. Well, I've seen Aurel, but you need to get to know Aurel even better, and then you know that he has the ability to adapt, to play different roles. He's very intelligent and fully wraps his mind around all of these concepts. He grasps things quickly. And also, he's always in the area where things happen. We need to complement each other. We need to make sure that all the pieces fit so that we're going to be very, very strong in the middle area. Now, in the position where you have played Uller here, and when you put him next to Albergue, in some of these matches, there might have been a duel because of his physics. There might have been like a physical aspect. There might have been a lost ball. What can you show him? For example, he's somewhat fragile in terms of his physical capabilities, how he can turn. What pieces of advice can you give him so that he can overcome that small handicap? Well, regardless of the position, we have to foresee better than react. If the position might be a little bit better, you might be getting there quicker to the specific duel, and you can not always overcome it with the physical, and this is the process that Arda, of course, needs to do, that Arda Güler needs to do this, and it's clear, crystal clear, that this is not a stage where we can allow ourselves to do everything, but rather we need to revert everything so that there is a progress for Güler, because we know that they have to be very, very close with a double pivot, but you also have to know how to disconnect. I think that he's doing it well, and we continue pushing him, driving him so that he can give it his most, so that he can be more mature, he can develop, and that we have to also know that he can make mistakes, he can also accept it, that making a mistake is development, and that's also very important in that area.
During the tournament, we saw you rely on Luka Modric, and he delivered the good performance in all matches, really. So, is there, or we expect any updates regarding to Luka's future with the team? He may stay for one more season?
Well, for sure, for me, I am so privileged to have Luka on the team. I really enjoy playing with alongside him, and now being on the touchline and seeing him available, for me it's a great pleasure to see him every day, the positive influence that he has on the team. That's something that the other players, they need to try to absorb from him as quick as possible and as much as possible, and we are delighted that he's with us.
Hello, Xabi. Engin Kayale, TRT Sports Turkey. One of the main differences we see from last season is the spacing of the players and the speed of movement of the ball. And when we look at the passing metrics, Arda Güler is in the center of it, and 15% of his touches are in the final third. How do you evaluate him as a player? You use him as a similar kind of Xhaka, but at the same time, he progresses with the ball a lot into the more forward area as well, and we as Turkish people are very excited to see him like this, and he seems to be very happy working with you as well. So can you evaluate him?
Well, yeah, I have just a comment about Arda. He has some special qualities, that he's able to get close to on the build-up, that he's not that far from the ball, that he gets close, and whenever he has many passes and he takes many right decisions, I think that we play better because we take more passes and we are in better position for the pressing and for the build-up of our game. But he's still in a moment that he needs to develop, he needs to learn, and he has this good mentality, good attitude. I know that he's so loved in Turkey. There are so many expectations, but we have to try to help him mature in a positive way.
Hola, mister. Aquí.
Hello, Coach. Marcelo Corrage de TV Globo Brasil. We feel that Rodrigo is really far away from his very best version in terms of his drive here. Now, do you think that Rodrigo will be able to become his very best self along with your guidance? Well, I am sure of it. I'm sure that all the footballers want to play. I spoke with Rodrigo yesterday, and his mindset is positive. He is willing and able and is ready for whenever we may need him. Thank you, Xavi from ESPN Sports. Fede was saying in the very last one that he wanted to be substituted in, that he was very tired during this match. How have you seen the exhaustion of the footballers, and how are you going to be dealing with it in the future? Are the positions going to be changing when you move to another stadium? Over the last periods or the different stretches of the different matches, the conditions of calls, the strength falters. And, you know, Juventus, they decided and stated that some of the players did have some issues. Well, sometimes we did try to make some of these changes, and we tried to do this before, preemptively. During the last match, we were thinking about the possibility that we were still doing it at 1-0. And Fede, and how he's just tired all the time. He goes for it all the time. He did have a little bit of an issue, an injury, but he's recovered fully for tomorrow, and I don't think there will be any issue. Hello, Miguel Angel from Radio Marca. I would like to ask you, Jose Antonio Camacho said in his day that Gonzalo has thrown he's doing it really well, I think. Gonzalo is leveraging, availing himself of this opportunity with all of his work, with all of the goals that he has scored as well. And also the drive and that he has been showing us, that he has been putting forward, that is exactly, precisely what we were expecting of him, and we are very, very happy with his performance. Carlos Forjanes, we have talked often not here in terms of the impact of the Colimbric, and we talked about the guidance that you could possibly give him as a modern player. I don't know if you see within the rules that are changing to bring on the dead times, for example, or are you more traditional in this regard? Well, when you have to do it, you try to make the very best use of it, of course. And when you think about that, you can improve a football organically, or that you can improving it, that it will not disrupt the football dynamics. I think that we need to think about it. I'm not saying no to it. However, I don't really think that under normal conditions, I don't know if I would do it.
Hi, Mr. Felix Arns from the Bundesliga. Of course, you know the Dortmund players very well, and you just said that the players will decide the game tomorrow. Of which Dortmund players will you talk to your equipo, and who are the biggest threat for Real Madrid?
Well, I think that Nico has been wise enough to build a proper team, that many pieces, they work together pretty well, for sure. We know the threat of Guirassy. This year, his first year in Dortmund has been very good, after a great year in Stuttgart. But Adeyemi, Brandt, or Sabitzer, whoever plays, and Mecha has developed himself as a great six, alongside Gross. So Svensson as well has been a good addition with Ryerson, and the three centre-backs. I know them pretty well, but that's not decisive. Decisive is what happens on the pitch and what they are able to deliver, but they are in a good moment, Dortmund, and we are facing a tough opponent.
Hey, Xavi, Eric here from Kenya. What have you made of Dortmund so far in the Club World Cup here, and what kind of a challenge do you anticipate tomorrow? A great challenge. I think that Dortmund, for the last couple of years, they have had better European performances than in Bundesliga. They reached the final 2 years ago, last year quarterfinals, and they are able to deliver in big moments. So we are facing a tough opponent, very solid, very complete in attack and in defense. They know what to do, so it's going to be tight tomorrow.
Hola Xavi, estamos en vivo por Radio La Red de Argentina.
Hello Xavi, live Radio La Red Argentina. we came to New York thinking that we would see a mini Champions League, to put it like that. However, there's a Brazilian team already through to the semifinals, and there might be another one going through. Do you think that is a tie rivalry between continents, or do you think that Europeans will win that rivalry? And then I have to ask about Mastantuono, because I'm Argentinian, and he will turn 18 in August. Do you think that he will be to your disposal a bit earlier, or only when he turns 18? Well, this Club World Cup, I think it's showing the great competitiveness that there is in other leagues. And maybe Europeans, we are not that familiarized with other leagues, such as the Saudi League, Brazilian League, even the Argentinian League. Even if no team qualified for the round of 16, I think that sometimes in Europe we just focus on the Champions League and we think that it's the only competition, but it's not like that. Let's see what happens in that match, Chelsea and Palmeiras. And as regards your second question, when he turns 18, he will be with us.
Xavi, Carlo Bianchi de Football Press.
Xavi, Carlo Bianchi, Football Press. I wanted to ask, if things go well, you reach the final, then you will only have 4 weeks before the La Liga starts. Your technical staff and yourself, how are you working on organizing the preseason? Will you be training in Valdebebas, in your sports city? Not that many friendly matches, holidays? What are you thinking? Well, we are moving a bit too far ahead, but yes, we need to start thinking about this actually, because the players will need holidays. We will all need a vacation because, it's a very long season. Then we will train in Valdebebas, in our sports city. We're not traveling abroad for any sort of stage. And then we'll see when the Liga starts. It will be the usual season, a bit reduced in times, and then 2025-2026, it will be a new season. We will have to make all the decisions regarding our players, and we will have those 10 months of competition. Xavi, Claudio Gigliori, Cadena 3 Argentina. I wanted to ask you about Dortmund. We saw them play against Monterrey. They really dominated the opponent, and they were dominated in the last 30 minutes of the game. Why do you think this is? Maybe physical? Sorry, just one question, okay? Only one question, because we need to come to an end. So what would you say? I think that in partly because they were winning 2-0 already, and also because of Monterrey's attitudes and performance. They were 1-1 against the goalkeeper during the first half, and then the second half they played really well, Monterrey. And about Dortmund, I think that they moved back the pressing line, and the Rayados took the initiative. Mario Cotejana, The Athletic, how are you doing? In order to be faithful to our traditional question, the medical report, how are the injured players doing? And also ask, these matches are really all or nothing type of games. What impact does it have? And also, we're talking about really high intensity games. Well, the squad list will be the same. Eduardo Camavinga, he's feeling a bit better. He's in better shape. But other than that, the rest, they are all evolving in a similar way. Carvajal and Militao, they're all evolving adequately. Thank you very much.
Continue our day with a press conference of head coach of Borussia Dortmund, Niko Kovac, later today.